Hey there guys, this is Greeny welcoming you to my first impressions of EA at E3 this year, their conference. And it was actually pretty good. I was a little bit surprised. I was expecting it to be just full on sports games over and over. You'd expect that, is it just me? It can't be just me, because that's what they're most well known for. But they do have another couple of franchises apparently. I am going to be reading from notes. If you don't like that, there's not much I can do about it. I do apologise. I just don't want to miss anything, and that's why I'm reading from notes. I don't want to miss a single game, and I don't think I have missed anything in this one, because the conference was a bit shorter than the main console conferences, and it was only like an hour long. Probably not even that long once you cut out all the people talking on the stage and stuff, so here we go. Let's get started. The first game was actually one of my highlights for E3 overall, not just for EA, and it's called Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare. Now everyone knows Plants vs Zombies was like a free flash game that they put on the DS store, on the 360 arcade, on the PSN store, and it wasn't free then, but you know. And what they did was they made it like a tower defense game where your house, you plant loads of plants on a garden to stop the zombies coming through the fence and into the house. That was all 2D-ish, you know, top-down sort of view. This one, Plants vs Zombies 2 is what you might as well call it, is 3D. You run around, sort of like a over-the-shoulder first-person shooter, sort of like Resident Evil 4, that sort of thing. It's for Xbox One and Xbox 360, which I'm a bit gutted about because I'm not an Xbox person. I would have bought this if I was, for definite, and if it comes out for PS4 later on, then I'd definitely buy it. They have added co-op survival mode. That's the sort of thing I love in my multiplayer. I prefer to have co-op stuff, like in Left 4 Dead, like in even just like in the COD games where you're in teams. I prefer that sort of thing to going all out attacking each other, like saying COD, free for all. Sorry. But yeah, it looks so good. You have to stop the zombies by finding plant pots and putting plants in there. And it can be different plants and they have different advantages, disadvantages, just like different classes. If you were playing a sort of online RPG and you had a choice of mage, fighter, warrior, whatever, archer, whatever. The type for this would be like sunflower, pea shooter, cactus. They have different advantages and disadvantages, which looks really good. But yeah, it looks all 3D, completely different from the prequel, and it actually looks really good. And I was surprised when I saw that they were coming on stage saying, Plants vs Zombies! I don't care. I just don't care. But no, turned out brilliant. Highly recommended going by the bit of gameplay shown. I think there was someone playing in the background too, so it was actually showing proper gameplay for now. As well as that, they said, Peggle 2! This big explosion and rainbow came on the screen, and then he walked off. And that was it. There was nothing else. Nothing else about that, literally. No date or anything. Titanfall. We saw that from the 360 Microsoft conference for Xbox One. And that's what this is for, Xbox One. What they said about it is a futuristic first-person shooter. It's huge. A lot of people want it. Whatever, you know. What they said, they wanted to make it fun and not re-step over old grounds. I can see how they've done that, sort of. It still looks like typical first-person shooter in a futuristic setting. But what they've done, they've added sort of robots that you can ride around in, and these mechanical enemies and stuff, which seem a little bit different. It is unique. You can see they've put effort into making it unique. But it's so difficult to make a first-person shooter unique these days because of the amount that have been flooding the market, that they couldn't quite make it a completely unique game. The only game I've ever played that was completely unique is probably Kill 7, way back on the GameCube and PS2. But yeah, it looks good. It looks really good if you have an Xbox One, or if you will have an Xbox One. Next up, they said there are going to be 2 new engines. One of them is called DICE, and a couple of the following games are going to be using that. The other one I can't remember the name of, and I didn't write it down for some damn reason, so I apologise for that. But yeah, 2 new engines which are going to make use of the Xbox One capabilities and things. It's going to be used for Star Wars Battlefront. Everyone got so excited about that. There hasn't really been a good Star Wars game for a long time now, in my opinion. But it seems like this one is going to be back to glory. I hope it does well. Because even though I don't like space games at all, I'd like to think that there's a really good one out there on the market like this. And I hope it does well. I really do. What else? Another one that's going to be using the DICE engine. Need for Speed Rivals. It just looks like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I'm not going to lie. What they said about it that made it stand out from other Need for Speed games. It's going to be between the cops and the racers. Hot Pursuit style. But what makes it different? Online heavy emphasized. There probably will be a single player mode. But the online's going to be amazing, in other words. That's what they're aiming for. And that's what a lot of gamers want these days. A lot of online stuff. So I can see why Xbox One have done this heavy emphasis on online. I can see why they've done it. But they have sort of neglected the offline gamers, which there are going to be a lot of, even if they don't make their voices heard as much on the internet. You know? They have neglected them, unfortunately. Need for Speed movie. Who knows? I'm assuming it'll be like Fast and the Furious. That's the best I can come up with for a racing game movie. It could be good. It could be completely wrong. If you like your Fast and Furious, maybe you'll love this. I'm sure you will. But it's a strange thing to happen. I never saw it coming, for sure. I never saw it coming. What else have we got? Right. When the guy introduced it, he called it The Fires Above. Okay? And the title came up on the screen. The Fires Above. But no. That is not what the next game was called at all. It is a new Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition. If you've played the other Dragon Age games, then you'll know what this trailer was going to show you. It's a medieval-ish RPG fantasy style, where you walk around and fight. Sort of like Oblivion a tiny bit, but no, not really like that. I mean, but it's got that sort of setting around the environment. That's about all there is to say about that. I keep saying this, I'm not a big fan of this sort of genre. I say this a lot because I'm not a massive fan of modern games, in all honesty. But I do love to see the hype around it and everything, and that's why I'm doing this. Okay, here comes the sports games. We knew E3, EA. We knew EA were going to come up with this. They got NBA Live 14, basketball. A new Madden. I didn't even get the name of it because I was so uninterested. FIFA 14. Yeah. And UFC, a new wrestling game. If you like your sports games, it looks like it's going to be a good year. But then again, they bring out these new sports games every year, so it's always a good year for sports game fans. There's nothing wrong with that. If you like them, then you should be happy. You shouldn't be too disappointed that there aren't too many changes to the games each time. I know they change a couple of little things, but it's not a hugely different game. I'm stepping on toes here. I know I am. Okay, Battlefield 4. We saw this one at the Microsoft conference once again. Good I'll repeat what I said that time. Good graphics, shiny, explosions, fireworks. Nothing new really. It'll sell well though. Because it's Battlefield, and Battlefield 3 was so good. That's all there is to say. We all know what Battlefield is. I don't know what else there is to say. And that's going to be a big hitter for EA and for Microsoft. And I'm sure it'll come to PS4 as well. I'm absolutely certain they will at some point, if it doesn't as soon. I don't know. No dates were given. Finally, we got Mirror's Edge 2. Now remember this being this pretty mediocre game, but it was extremely shiny. It was like every surface was so polished and shiny and futuristic. It was like looking at mirrors without the reflection, you know, that sort of shine to it. Does that make sense? The second one looks pretty much the same. It's got the same aesthetics. It's got the same woman as the main character by the looks of things. Just her looking from a tall building, just like they did with the first Mirror's Edge reveal. I don't know what to really say about Mirror's Edge 2, because it didn't show that much once again. That was a pattern with Microsoft and EA's conferences. Not much was shown particularly in terms of new information. But the games are good. There's quite a lot of good games to look forward to. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I probably haven't given too much new information at all, unless you didn't see the conference, which I hope I helped some people make some decisions in some way or form. So this has been Greeny XI. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll make sure to get the Ubisoft one up soon, impressions soon. I haven't even seen it yet, but I'm going to watch it now straight after I've recorded this. And make my notes, and I'll get it up as soon as possible. Hope you've enjoyed. See you in a bit.